Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. Last week we talked about the Perfect Partners promotion that's coming out September 1st, 2022, and I used the apple dies to make some of these pretty cards. And I said I would do the piggies, the little pig dies, playful piggy dies, this week. So this flyer is actually loaded in the description area. If you're on YouTube, if you expand the description, there's a link for you to print the flyers. So 6 die sets coming out September 1st that go with current stamp sets that we already have. Right? So if you already have this birthday piggy stamp set from the annual catalog, then you probably want to get the dies because it's really great to have all of the cutouts for all of these images. So this cuts out this one, and this one will cut out this little guy with flowers. The sentiments are really nice. I used this one twice today. Go to your happy place and stay there all day. It's got a little wagon that you can put the pigs in. And let me show you what the original piggy set looked like. Some of you may have it. I want to say at least 3 years ago. It was called This Little Piggy, extremely popular. It did not have dies, but this was the original set. So the little wagon, if you have this little piggy, you probably want, look how cute is that little wagon there for the for the piggy. So this was the first one, and this is what I call a companion set. So the artwork is very similar. So if you have this one's nice to kind of update it and give you a few more options. So there's a lot of other little dies that go along with this. There's this little swirly guy, which is a bunch of confetti, which is sort of a background. It'll just cut out those pieces. And this one really threw me for a loop. I don't know if you can see this. It's so tiny. I'm like, it looks like a mermaid tail out of the ocean, but it's actually a bandana. So he can have a little bandana around his neck. And I think it fits all the pigs. So, or a little one in the front. It's so funny. These are teeny tiny little things. This is the first one that I made, and I'll show you how I did the coloring on that. Very simple layout. And this is kind of interesting. This was inspired by a catalog sample. Page 46. This one right here. I thought, I love banners, but I've never done one going up in that direction. I wasn't sure if I liked it. I mean, I would probably go all the way up and then put some twine around it. But, you know, sometimes you have to try new things, a little bit fresh, and not just stick with the same old, same old. So this is the inside that I'm going to do, and I'll show you how to color the pig. And I brought this into the inside. This one goes up, this one goes down. I got a little bit of space to write. And this little pig that I cut out will go down in here. Go to your happy place and stay there all day. It's your birthday. And what I like to do, this one is stamped with Memento Black, which I always have a hard time getting it nice and even. I don't know about you, but it can be blobby. So I've been using the basic gray from Stampin' Up. It is not waterproof. It is for using with your alcohol markers. But the basic gray, it's almost black. I mean, I don't know if you can see the difference here. But it looks so much sharper and cleaner and not so harsh. So that's kind of been my go-to for coloring. Of course, they don't have to be pink. You know, pigs are in a lot of different colors, those spotted ones and different things. But I really wanted this peachy coral pink to go with that. So I started with light petal pink, and we're gonna do just a light scribble, which means you're gonna leave blank spots in there. So just scribble, 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 scribble. So it's not perfect. There's little white swirls in there. We can go back and fill them in. Then, instead of the dark petal pink, we're going to light Calypso Coral. And this is what made it look the best for me. I really, really liked this color combo. And you don't have to do all of it because we're going to do a little bit of blending. But just add a little bit around to give it a little definition. I don't have to go too far down because he's going to be in the grass here. And then I'm going to come back in with the light petal pink and scrub it. So I'm pushing that color out and blending it in. So pushing it away, same thing, bringing it in, and just, I'm using the bullet tip so I can push a little bit harder and doing a little scrub on it. And it just blends it in nicely. And if you want to add a little bit of more of that color in, you can. Now you can also pick up a tiny bit of color if you want to pick up one from the other. This is the light petal pink, and pick up a little bit of the darker one and give it a little cheek. And as long as you're going in this direction, it'll pick it up and it doesn't hurt your tip at all. And then I can just slide this guy down in there. There, and I'll probably add a few little butterflies. So that's the first one. Pretty easy, a few iridescent stones on here. Now the next one, I wanted to show some other things you could do with the wagon. I started with this one and I decided to have it go in the other orientation, but this is just, it's embossed with brick. It's very plain and simple on the front. It's kind of like inside the house and then going outside. So It's Your Birthday is embossed down here. Go to your happy place and stay there all day, because we all know these people that love to work in the garden and that's their happy place. So I have a person that this card is going to. Then I thought, well, why don't I go in the other orientation so this isn't so empty here? So I started with this orientation. I went this way so it opens. And I think I like it better in adding a little bit of designer paper. And I'm going to replace this with twine so it's not so heavy and takes the focal point away from the window. All right, so here's how we do this one. All right, I'm starting with Balmy Blue, A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 11. You know you can print all the measurements. I have the link for you below. But it's a side fold, which will make it easier to emboss. I've got a little piece of designer paper. It's got a little bit of coral and the same Balmy Blue in there. This is from A Wash in Beauty. Now you can hold off putting this on or tack it on just a little bit. We really just need it for the orientation of our window. So I've got a little strip of coral there. You need to do this first. If you do your embossing first and then this, it's gonna, when you run it through, your embossing will get flattened out. So we start with the window first, whether you have a punch or a die, but we're gonna center this. And my mistake on the first one was that I put the window too low. And look what happened. My wheels almost went off the card. So I'm raising it up to the center. I'm gonna put this in, run this through the die cutting machine, cut my window, and it looks like this. So you've got your window here. Then we emboss. I have my brick embossing folder. All right, that went through the machine, and now we can emboss. This is the brick embossing folder. I'm putting it all the way in, and you can run this through your machine and emboss the brick, and then you have this. So it's got that great texture on there. This is 1.5 inches, that designer paper. And then you need to run one more thing. You're gonna take the larger square, put them together on a piece of white cardstock, and you make sure it's really close, even all the way around. Tape them down, run it through, and then you're gonna get your stitched frame that will go on the outside. Just sort of helps brighten it up a little bit. And glue my frame all the way around. Now this little strip here is nice. So when you're placing the strip down, just kind of pay attention to how much space you have all the way around. You've got a little bit of leeway. You can cover some of that designer paper up, or you can go in the middle, but either way, you just want to make sure this looks good. I'm going to run a piece of twine all the way around. All right, to measure your twine, so if you go around 3 times, it's a knot. 1, 2, 3 times and cut it. That would give you enough for a knot. I'm going 4 times and a little more just so that I can have a bow up at the top. See if that looks better than the ribbon. I tend to tie a knot first just to make it stay, and then I do my bow, but whatever works. Go around the back There. Okay, twine is on. For the sentiment, I stamped It's Your Birthday. I always use a big piece of paper. I don't know how you guys do these little bitty greetings, but I start with a nice square, make sure it's a nice even piece of paper. I get all the way down to the bottom where I think it's gonna be. That looks actually pretty good. But if I mess up, I've got some other opportunities. This is a little more than a quarter, but under a half. And it just is easier to make your little banners that way than trying to stamp on a little tiny piece of paper. In my measurements, it'll say 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. So you can choose to stamp on that cut already, but it sure is easier when you're just cutting it from a bigger piece. I'm just gonna make, instead of a banner, I'm gonna try that point again. I'm gonna add it right up here, maybe right to there. And I can put that on with dimensionals, or I can just glue it straight down and keep it flat on the front. All right, let's do the inside. All right, I already have this. I got a little speckling on there, and I've got the greeting stamped on there. Go to your happy place and stay all day, and it's slightly crooked. That's okay. Now let's make this cute wagon. I cut this out in crumb cake already. You can also just cut everything in white and then color it with your blends. But cutting it in crumb cake takes some of the coloring out of it, and I'm using dark soft suede and my brush tip, and I'm going over it, just like that. It already has like a little wood grain in it, so I'm just skipping some of the spots. Actually, this is the light black, and I'm gonna do the handle. And there's 2 little wheels that I cut already in black. And they're just these, I'm just gonna glue dot those on. Now, depending what you put in your wagon, for me, I don't really wanna see the white through it. So if you have another little piece of cardstock that can go behind it to hide, that will cover it up. And I might just color it in with a little bit of the soft suede so it doesn't show as much. And a little glue on the top and the bottom, and cover that up. So there's the wagon. So there's a little grass die that comes in the Playful Piggies die set. It's a little short, so you have to cut it a couple times, and there's just a little weird mark in there, but I'm thinking the wheel will go there and we won't notice it anyway. So I use Pear Pizzazz. Just, oops, do a little bit of glue at the bottom. Now for the flowers in here, I'm sure you have a lot of different flowers that can go in this wagon. I used Cup of Tea because I like this little flower sprigs and the flowers, and there's dies to go with that. So I stamped these, Pear Pizzazz, and a little bit of the Calypso Coral to kind of match these flowers, and die cut those out. On the back of our wagon, add a little bit of tape and do this. There's so many different things you can put in this wagon besides the pigs. I was thinking about the hippos that we have for celebration, the little Scotty Terriers. There's all kinds of critters. I was going through the catalog looking at all the fun things you could stick in there. Wait to stamp your greeting because I stamped mine and it showed through the window. That's no good. So you're gonna scoot these little tires into the grass, just like that. Kind of put them down temporarily. Do you like it? Yes, that looks good right there. Add a little adhesive back here to hold the rest of it down. There, cute. Now for the sentiment, I'm gonna stamp this on a piece of plastic, and I'm gonna move this around and see, making sure I don't touch it. That's probably gonna be where it's gonna have to go. Yes, as opposed to here, you can see it. Unless I go way up high, right, I'm gonna go right over here. Okay, cute. See, it doesn't show. So just keep that in mind. If you go really low, you've got room. But I do like this version better with the window in the middle. All right, thanks for watching and sticking with me. That was fun. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.